Good morning. I am Stampin' Dee Dee, and this is Stash to Card, Then Meets Now. And I am so glad to be here with you this morning. I am doing this live video every other Thursday. So actually it's the second and fourth Thursdays of the month. So I was really excited to be here. I've been spending some time outside working. You know, my bulbs think it's spring and they're popping up, and I know we're going to have a little more winter probably, but I don't know. How about yours? Are your bulbs popping up too? Yeah, I don't want them to do that because I don't want them to get nipped back. But it is what it is, right? We're thankful for a little bit of nice weather after all that ice. So today I wanted to use a stamp set that I got, a bundle, and it will be available in March. It's not available yet. It is available on the pre-order for demonstrators, but it's not available for general purchase yet. But it will be available in March. And it's called Cutest Crew. Cutest Crew. And I'll be honest with you, the reason I got it were the birds. I love birds, and I love using different birds on my cards. And these were whimsical, and I really, really liked the fact that they were whimsical. But then I have used the dogs, and I've used the cats, and yeah, they're fun too. So I think it's a stamp set that I will really enjoy. And then the dies that go with it, the dies cut the line of dogs and the line of cats and the three birds. But then you've got dies that cut each one of the birds and each one of the cats and the dogs. It cuts them out. So I don't know if it's all of them. Let's see. That one cuts that one. That one cuts that one. That one cuts that one. So I don't see one that cuts that one. But with the cats, let's see. I'm looking at the dies for the cats. I don't see one that cuts that one. But this one cuts this one. This one cuts this one. And this one cuts this one. So the only one I didn't see was this dog. Anyway, all right. So you can cut out individual animals as well. And then it's got the line of dog paw prints and this line here. And I've actually used both of those on the cards. It's got butterflies. You can stamp the butterflies, and then the die is different. So you can stamp them, or you can die cut some butterflies. The flowers, you can stamp flowers here, or you can die cut some flowers, and they do die cut individually. Let's see, and I think that's it. You've got paw prints and bird tracks that you can use on your card. So there's just a lot that you can do. A lot of ways that you can use this set. So let me show you a card. So this is one that I did using the birds. and I pulled out, I think that's mint macaron paper, and used that. This is the notes. I forget what that's called. Let me find it. It's one of the current ones. Well, let me find it. Very low. Well, textured notes. This one is using textured notes. This one, of course, is color and contour. And I believe this one came out of color and contour as well. So, and I did emboss. I die cut it, and then I embossed it. So there's that one. Then there's this one. And on this one, I die cut the individual birds. I colored them first, and then I die cut them. And I looked through my stash until I found one with a fence. The first one I came to was Playing in the Rain, and I wanted a fence. So this is the one from Playing in the Rain, and I used it. I know I've got at least a couple of others that have fences as well. But this is the one I came to, so that's the one I used. And then this is using the circles. Layering circles for a background. And then this is some older DSP. You know, I told you how much I love black and white, and I do. And this one is from Perfectly Penciled. And so much as I don't want to see my black and white paper go away, I do want to use it. So the other one that I used was True Love. This is Perfectly Penciled. All right. And then I decided that I needed to use the animals. So this one I did with dogs. And I thought it turned out so cute. This paper is an older, a retired DSP that is plaid. And I forget the name of it, but it's a plaid. And I love plaid. I love mixing plaid. So this one, I didn't even color the dogs. I just colored their kerchiefs and their collars or their tags. And I thought it turned out really, really cute. I have to tell you a funny story about the heart sequins. Of course, they're retired. And I got them out to use them. I knew that I wanted to use them on this card. And my first thought was, oh no, I can't use these up. I might need them for something. And that is my mentality concerning my stash. And I've got to get away from that. I've got to get to the point that I can use things up. All right. And then I did a card with the cats. And I just used 3 of the cats. And this is, I didn't show you on here, on this card, this is the strip. I don't know if you can see it. It's the paw prints. And I layered this one, and the paw prints. I layered those papers all on the contour die because I wanted them to blend together. So I just layered each one. I'd already cut the strip. I'd already die cut it. So I layered the strip, I layered this one, and I layered all on this one and ran it through with the same color and contour dye. And that way the edges matched. All right? Yeah. So this one, I just colored 3 of the cats. And I thought I had another cat card, but I guess I didn't. Yeah, I just colored 3 of the cats, and I die cut and then snipped around this one to cut it away from the others. And this is from that plaid. And this, I saw, this edge here, I saw on a reel. And I thought, oh, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to make another card with these 3 cats. But I'm going to be using a different paper, a different designer series paper, and different colors. So there's that. Is that not a cute set? It just turns out so cute. So we are going to make that 3rd card. Now, this paper, it's with a different paper. I took this one from a designer series paper called New Horizons. New Horizons. And it's an old set, and this must have been the 2nd package that I bought. And I love this kind of paper. So I thought, use it. Use it, Deanna, use it. So I am going to use it. But to get this, we need to first cut 1 inch off of our card base. So I'm going to get my trimmer. I'll bring it over here, and I'm going to cut 1 inch off of my card base. So I'll move it to 1 inch and cut 1 inch off. And of course, you can always use that later. All right, so we cut 1 inch off the front. And now we're going to give it a good burnish. Now, I also went ahead and used the Stylish Shapes dies and cut out my 6 little circles. It takes 6 to go down this edge of that particular die. If you go with a bigger circle, it would take less. So I went ahead and cut those out, but I need to cut this down to size. And I'm going to use a deckled rectangle, and that's a retired set. And I want to make sure I've got plenty of the pink in it. So I think I'm going to cut it right here. I also want to make sure I've got some of the rich raspberry, or yeah, I think that's what that is, rich raspberry. So yeah, I think I'm going to cut it right there. So let me go over here and do that real quick. I don't want to lift my machine and bring it over there. So I'm going to run it through real quick. Okay. All right. Now, that is going to go on the front. And then I need, for the corresponding piece, to go right here. So I need 1 inch, and I'm going to just barely trim that deckled edge. I mean, I'm just barely gonna trim it. I didn't even get it all off. Let me see if I can, because I want the pattern to still fit. All right, there, I got it. And then I'm gonna 3/4 of an inch, because we cut 1 inch off. So I'm gonna cut the pattern right next to the one I die cut. And then I'm gonna look here and figure out where it goes. Okay, it's gonna go right there. So now I'm going to mark where I need to cut it. All right, then I'm gonna go over here again and cut it right there. And I'm going to measure, that's 5 1/2, so I want 5 1/4. And I'm going to run it all along that edge. But it's going to correspond with this one. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this piece on. And we're just going to put it on right there. There we go. And then this, we're going to come along and we're going to line it up so that it has a flow to it. This paper, it's not going to matter. If I had a real patterned a scenery, it would matter more. But I probably would not choose that to do with a rectangle. I would just cut it to fit the paper. But I wanted to use the deckled rectangle. All right, now we've got this. I'm going to cut my strip out of this. So I'm going to get my dies out. Here are the dies, and I'm going to use this die right here. And I'm going to cut a strip out of this, just to have some contrast. All right, let me go cut this. Here is our, put our die, well, let me get my, take a pick tool, and grab this, and poke these out, just so next time when I use it, won't have to stop and do that. And it doesn't matter to have a couple of layers, but once you get about 3 layers built up, then it begins to affect how it cuts. So I go ahead and poke it out. It's not that big a deal. All right, that goes back on my magnet sheet. And here is the piece I die cut. So I'm going to need to poke the pieces out of it. All right. Okay. Now, I can throw them in the trash. All right, so this one is, I'm going to make it not quite as long. Not quite as long as the Designer Series paper. All right. That way the ends don't have to match. All right, now we're going to do our kitty cats. And I need to get my stamp out. Oh, I did already. I put it on a block. Yeah, I did that at the same time. Whoops. Yeah, sorry, I hit the camera. All right, here we are. I've already got them on a block. And so because they're clear stamps, I'm going to use a pad. And I'm only going to stamp these 3 cats. So I don't really need to ink up the whole thing, and I don't need a huge piece of paper. Yeah, those 3. The 3 on this end. Oh, no, I wanted the 3 on the other end. So I did ink them all up, but that's okay. All right. Yeah, I wanted these 3. So I'm going to do it like this. There we go. And I'm also going to, while I have my ink out, I'm going to stamp a happy birthday up here so I can die cut it in a few minutes. There we go. Now the colors, these are not going to be realistic cats. I picked Petal Pink and Blackberry Bliss. So I'll start with the light Petal Pink. And color it. And then I'll come in with the dark and do some highlights. So I'll highlight right here and maybe right here and do the ears and part of the tail, part of the feet. Now this color, the highlights don't really, the dark doesn't really show up. So, but we're going to leave it like that. And then one of them is going to be really dark. So I'll use my light Blackberry Bliss, color this cat. I want my cats to match my paper this time. There we go. And then I am going to bring my dark and highlight just a little bit. I'm going to highlight around his leg and right here around his face, his feet a little bit, his tail, and maybe his ear right there. Just to add a little bit of depth. It's very subtle. All right, and the last one, I'm going to do gray. So this is dark and light gray granite. So we'll do the light first. And gray would be a more natural color for a cat. Probably not petal pink. Probably not blackberry bliss. Although, I don't know. All right, now I'll come in with my dark and give a little bit of a highlight there and there. There. Okay. It's not much, but it's enough. All right, and the butterflies. I tried to go with, this is Sweet Sorbet. And I have my retired blender pens stashed away, and I didn't have time to go find Sweet Sorbet. So I picked a color that I thought would be the closest. I hope I'm not echoing here. I forgot to turn this off. Hold on a minute. If I'm echoing, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. All right, and then we're going to do this. There we go. And now we're ready to cut them out. I'm going to get the die for the cats, and I think it's this one. I have to see if it is. Yeah, it is. It is. So I'm going to die cut that, and I've got my sentiment die over here somewhere. Well, let me look. I know I had it out. Well, that's what happens when you do that. Then all of a sudden, it's hidden, and you know it's here. I can't find it. Well, all right. I'm going to have to get another die out. Let me look under this. Nope. Well, it's going to turn up in a minute. I'm sure of that. All right. All right, let me get another circle die. Let me see if stitched shapes works. Hopefully it will. It does. Good. All right. And as soon as I do this, it'll show up. You know? It'll show up. All right. I'm going to cut these kitties. Get that positioned on there and cut my cinnamon. All right, bring this over and get my kitties out and my cinnamon. Put my stylish shapes die back. All right. Put my kitty die back. Now what I'm going to need to do is trim around my kitty die. So just these three. I want to trim around this one. There we go. Now we've got our three kitties, and we're ready to assemble this. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my scalloped edge on. And I want to get these all right side up. Get my little glue thingy here. And I'm just going to put glue on half of it. So, there we go. So I've got glue on half of it. I'm going to start down from the edge just a little bit. And it's all in how much of the scallop you want. So as long as you do them all the same or close to the same, then you're fine. Just remember to put the glue on the front side. The first one I did, I put it on the back side. Makes sense, right? Glue on the back, but that didn't work. You've got to have it on the front. And then I'll put this one right next to it. Move it down to where it's even with it. There we go. And we're just going to do that to all 6 of them. There we go. So easy, and I just love the look. I love this look. You know, I wasn't even looking for that. I was looking at something else, and this reel popped up. And she was doing this. I don't even know who it was. And I thought, oh, I love that. I love that look. So I decided to use it on these cards. Oops. Oops. Okay. One more. Here we go. Here we go. Isn't that cool? Cool scalloped edge. Love it. Love that. All right. So then we're going to put this piece down. And I just put little dots of glue just down. And then I have to hold it here and finish out. The edges, the ends are the main thing. And I'm going to put it right about here. Get it straight. You know me and straight. Now, I'm going to use dimensionals on my cats. So I'll put a dimensional there. Maybe a third one. All right. All right. Get these dimensionals, get these cats sitting on this little strip here. And a happy birthday I'm going to put up here with dimensionals. Huh. I didn't realize that there was something on the back of that. Oh well. Yeah, I do use my scraps. I keep them. So sometimes. But that will not matter. Put that happy birthday right there. And I've got a piece of Blackberry Bliss twine, retired Blackberry Bliss twine. This bow down to size. There we go. And we're just going to put the bow right down here with a glue dot. And I didn't pick out, I don't think, I picked out a, well, the glue dot's on my finger. That's not gonna work, is it? Okay, glue dot goes right there. I'll trim this just a little bit. So I didn't pull out. Let's see if I've got something I can find real quick that'll work. Probably don't. No, I probably don't have anything. Now that might. No, it's too orange. No, I don't really. It's too orange. It's not pink enough. I could just use the clear ones. That would work. as you can see, I need to use up my stash. I need to use it up. All right, we're going to use these. They are they're iridescent. So I think they're going to be really pretty. All right. I think I'll put 2 up here. And 1 maybe down here. Maybe a little one. A smaller one. Yeah, right down here. There we go. All right. So now we've got, and I need to put a piece of white in here, which I will do later. So there's those 2 different looks, but same pattern. Let me move some of this stuff aside, and I'll put the other cards out here. So if you're watching, let me know. I love to know who's watching, and I appreciate you watching. And if you are watching the replay, thank you so much for doing that. And if you're watching the YouTube, you know, I love my YouTube followers, and I appreciate you so much. Let me get these sort of where you can see them. All right, here we go. So which are your favorites? The birds, the dogs, the cats? Which one do you like the best? I love birds. I love birds. But I really like the way the dogs and the cats turned out too. And I don't know that you'd have to be a cat person to receive a card like that. Good morning, Kay. Thanks for letting me know you're here. Which do you like best? I think I know which you like best. But which do you like best? Or birds. That's what I thought. You know, and like I said, that's what sold me on this set. But now I've seen that I would be able to use it in a lot of different ways. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And for just supporting me in this way. All right. You have a great weekend, and I will see you in a couple of weeks on the 2nd Thursday of March. Can you believe it? We're moving into March. That's time to put your hummingbird feeders out for the not the test pilots, but the ones, the scouts that they send out ahead of time. Put your hummingbird feeders out. All right. See you in a couple of weeks. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.